This is episode 40 of the Hybrid Coaching Podcast. In this episode, we're going to review the HYROX Las Vegas weekend. We'll go a little bit over the elite race, JK and my own pro doubles race, and touch on the women's relay world record that happened in Las Vegas. A lot of good stuff to come from that, as well as some upcoming and future things that we like to discuss. Let's make hybrid fitness work for you. Well, JK, how you doing?
I'm good, Anthony, mate. I was waiting for that. That took you a while. I am well, mate. How are you? Have you recovered from the weekend?
No, I'm actually sick now. Lauren is sick now. We're gonna actually debate if we're not feeling well. That's I spent 30 hours at the convention center
Yeah.
over 3 days this last weekend. So I'm sure I walked by plenty of people that were already sick, and Monday, Tuesdays
Yeah.
this week, that's what it is. So if you hear something wrong with my throat, or if I start coughing, I'll try to edit it out afterwards. But just so you know, I got so much feedback over the weekend from people that said that they listened to us and they love the podcast. And I also got little bit of feedback, one in particular that said, "Hey, your intro and outro need to be a little more upbeat." And I was
Oh,
like,
is that right?
"Oh, okay."
Oh, okay.
So I was gonna
Well,
try to. The reason I paused coming into the recording today is because I was like, "What do I do to make it more upbeat at the start?" Because I'm gonna try to make it more upbeat in the intro.
well, okay. Well, here we go. This is still the intro right now, isn't it? Okay. All right. Well, first and foremost, um, have we discussed about the feed yet, Anthony? Or is that going to be in the conversation today?
We haven't. So what I have planned for today is I really want to talk about several of the races that happened this weekend, including your elite race, the women's world record relay that was
Yep.
super awesome, and
Fast.
what it was like being on the course at the same time as them, because you and I ran
Yeah.
a men's pro doubles
Yep.
and we won,
We
which
did
was
indeed.
your goal,
Yep.
but we hit my goal of beating your elite time from the night
I
before,
know.
and we
I
beat it
know.
pretty well. So I just want to dive into it, talk about it a little. We'll talk about our splits and everything. But I'd also like to, yes, mention the feed before the last podcast we recorded. I know we're 2 weeks now since we actually have put out a podcast because we didn't get one out last week. I'm sorry, guys. I got really busy and wasn't able to record a solo episode like I wanted to. But since the last episode, JK and Lauren have announced their partnerships with the feed.
It's exciting. Very exciting. We met the team on the weekend. The feed is a one-stop shop endurance supplementation line. And honestly, guys, if you go to the feed.com right now, you will be amazed. You'll be blown away by the amount of subs and the amount of endurance supplementation that they have on their website. It's been pretty much like an American, it's been sorry, they are based in America, but it's worldwide now. So it's shipping worldwide. And I'm so excited to be a part of their high performance team. And the subs that they have is incredible. They've pretty much got exactly what I need to do what I'm doing, and I'm sure Lawrence is the same. Um, but yeah. If you're here right now and you're listening to this, jump on the feed.com because you'll be able to get anything and everything for your training and endurance performance.
Yep. And we're not just trying to do a plug, guys. We actually use this. It's an online supplement marketplace where you can buy different brands from all over. It's really good. We actually do use it. And because of that, now that we are able to announce this, we do have future episodes planned where we will talk about the nutrition and the supplements that the elite athletes are taking in order to fuel their performance and how they're taking it and what they're taking from that.
Yeah.
Okay. The first race. Do you want to start in order or do you want to work in backwards order? How do you want to go?
I'm happy to go with order. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So first race of the weekend, first person to cross this finish line, Lauren, women's elite race, elite 15 race. This was the third major of the season. Everybody started out the night with that, and I think it's the first race in a long time that the person Lauren was never out of first place from the first step of the on the course. Like she was gone, and it was so she never lost that position at any point in the race. Uh, did you get a chance to watch the women's race?
Yeah, so just a quick story. I always watch let's just say, first 20 minutes of the women's race whilst I'm mobilizing and stretching before my race. And then I start warming up about at the 20-minute mark. So I was able to watch her, as always, go out like a bull at a gate. And as you just said, no one was stopping her on Friday night. It was very uh, known, I guess, like you could feel that right from the word go, right from the first, I'm gonna say like 50 meters. You're like, okay, here we go. Lauren Weeks. She's gonna do her thing tonight. And she did. So yeah, so kudos to her. Yeah, it was great to watch.
So I remember counting while I was watching live. I counted when she hit the ski erg, um, versus when like Joanna and Lauren Griffith came in. There was 13 seconds. So in the first run, there was 13 seconds
Wow,
um, of a
yeah.
lead. And just as a reference, I brought up your results, but I'm gonna start bringing up hers. But I remember showing you this the other day,
I
which, by
knew
the way,
you were going
guys,
to bring this up. I knew you were going to bring up my average
right?
pace versus Lauren's.
Yep, I'm gonna bring up Lauren's pace versus yours because you were the fastest male. Uh, the way they have it broken out, there's run and rock zone on this on these splits, but the you were the fastest male runner when you include run and rock zone, right? So fantastic job. I know that's something that like we look into, but if you look at the average lap pace, right? You your average lap pace was a 3:29,
Yeah.
right? Which is just that's fantastic. I mean there's no getting around that. Uh Lauren's average lap pace was a 3:32.
It's
Uh
crazy.
and
We've
I
joked about this. We've joked about this before, but she's definitely coming for me.
she's absolutely coming for you.
She's absolutely coming for me.
Um and you and I talked a little bit earlier, so it's with the new timing system, which I think well, I know they are going to improve. The It's a little bit difficult. You have to go into each person to see all the splits. But just as a reference, I think the second fastest or third fastest person on the night was Dylan Scott. His run total plus rock zone total was 32:03. Okay.
Yeah.
Your run plus rock zone was 31:54, so 9 seconds
Yeah.
faster. Lauren's run plus rock zone was 32:43. So
Wow.
she's less than a minute behind you guys in the total running,
Running.
right?
Yeah. That's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah, so
That's
uh,
crazy.
and if you look at Hunter, he was 32:06. But
Okay.
the other men that I went through, uh, I think I think Lauren would have been
Fourth.
fourth place overall. No, pretty
Yeah.
close. Bo was. Nope, Bo was almost 33. Bo was 33. So Lauren's
Yeah.
up there, top five total runs of anybody. Uh,
One, yeah, it'd be crazy. I wonder what would happen if we did a race all together. So the 15 men, 15 women
so
all
they
together.
they haven't done that since 2021 World Championships.
Yeah.
Um, but so just as a women's race, it was so obviously like went really well. She did fantastic. The other women, and just as a reference, you know how fast your guys' first lap was, which we'll get into the men's race in a second on the first lap.
Yeah.
Lauren was only 7 seconds behind that first lap of yours,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
She she would have been coming into the ski like maybe fifth or sixth or something.
she would have been coming into the skier fourth, right? Her time is exactly with Dylan Scott's first run.
Right. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. That is
So
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it
She was
was
a,
blazing fast.
yeah.
Uh, the other women in the race, we talked about it. We ended up having the hybrid engine ended up having 9 athletes racing.
Yeah.
Um, and I'll go through. So that was Lauren Weeks, Kate Davey, Lauren Griffith, Zara Piergianni, which we'll talk about their relay. Um, Z Jade Skillen and Vivian Tafuto. And then on the men's side, it was obviously you and Bo and Marcus Wallace.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think everybody came out and had a good time. I think like just the race itself was very exciting to watch with like there was such a group of people uh all together on the men's and women's side, basically uh a big group that was like 40 seconds apart and lead switches were happening from sled push all the way to the wall balls.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Um, do you want me to talk about my race or
yeah,
do
yeah,
we
just
want
a
to go
little.
into,
We'll talk about that. I
yeah.
just want to say before we move on to the men's race, congratulations to the three World Championship qualifiers. We have three more people qualified. That's
Yeah.
Linda Meyer, Amy Bellavacqua, and Lucy Proctor. Uh,
Yeah.
Amy also, I mean, everybody kind of knew that Linda would get a spot like eventually at Worlds. To see Amy get another one and then Lucy as a rookie get one, that's just so awesome.
Yeah. It's great for all three because we didn't know what it's first of all Lucy's first major, right? We had no idea how she was gonna shape up, but she smashed it. She absolutely smashed it. So kudos to those three girls. And also like from my end, I got to say, well done to the three men as well, who obviously got their spots for Worlds, and that was obviously Dylan Scott who won, Hunter coming second, and then Bo Wills, our boy, coming third. So both races obviously were pretty exciting. Um,
Yeah. All right, let's dive into your race a little bit. Talk me through your race real quick, and then um, how'd you feel afterwards? What were your thoughts during it, and what it was like being on course?
it's funny, Anthony. I think if we recorded this Monday or Tuesday, it's Thursday now, guys. So it's been 3 or 4 nights of sleep, and some time since oh, sorry, 5 nights of sleep or 6 nights of sleep now. If we recorded this like Monday or Tuesday, my perspective would be different. I think this is the first thing that I want to say is like as time goes on, you kind of like start thinking about things that you probably may have not have straight away after the event. I'll be honest with you, as you know, Anthony, straight after the race, I was bummed. I was pretty annoyed, I guess angry, but not angry part like angry with myself, I guess. just because I wanted to know, I wanted to perform better than I did. But to kind of like simplify it, right from the word go, guys, my effort level to to do what I thought I could do was a lot higher than any other race. I feel like, I'll give you an example. I feel like in Hong Kong,
So before you go to there, did you look at and measure your resting heart rate and correlate it the day of the race and your HRV?
no, but I can. No, but I can.
Sorry.
Um,
Uh, so I remember going into Hong Kong, you were actually feeling pretty good. Besides the fact that your back had had an issue about a week out.
yeah. So yes, correct. So leading into Hong Kong, apart from the back issue, my stress levels were down. My resting heart rate was low. My HRV was in a high range. And to give you guys some context, as soon as I landed in Vegas, which was 10 nights prior to the race, my resting heart rate wasn't high, but it wasn't low either. It was kind of hovering around that 40 to 41 beats per minute, which isn't high but isn't low for me. And it was exactly that, waking up on Friday morning. Um, so that's the first thing to consider is obviously like your overall stress levels leading into the race. But that translates to obviously what I was saying before is like my RPE, my perceived effort as soon as I took off was nothing that I've felt before in a race. I was working, and I know it's a bit of a funny kind of thing to talk about, but I think a lot of people think that, you know, we go out very hot, us men, which is true, but I'll tell you something. My pace in Hong Kong going out hot to me was so controlled and so measured versus my Vegas pace going out with Tim Vinish again was not controlled as much as I would have liked. And then I told you, Anthony, as soon as I hopped on the skiing at my normal race pace, as soon as, about a minute to a minute and a half hit on that ski, I was like, okay, something's off here. Something's off here. And then obviously, I'll be honest, that just kind of just continued um, throughout the whole race. To then obviously place fourth and I guess not have the best race in my eyes and obviously in your eyes. Yeah, like we could talk about the different environmental changes and stuff and whatnot, but at the end of the day, I just wasn't able to produce what I normally do. Full stop, period.
What was different? What was different, do you think, from this race, from Hong Kong, from Amsterdam? Because Amsterdam, you had to travel too.
Yeah. Um, I think the first thing would be of like the the actual race environment for everyone. I know for a fact was really tough, and you could see that after the women's race. But like first of all, and with all due respect, three women couldn't finish the race, and that never happens. Um, and secondly, like watching some of the women finish and how they looked. and felt after it, it was just like, okay, you know, this might be a bloody tough course. This might be a bloody tough race. So it, like I can't put together why or how that was, but I think for everyone, it was a tough. It was just it was a tough environment in there, and it's as simple as looking at. I said this to someone yesterday, Anthony. You look at myself, or even Hunter, even Dylan Scott. You look at our best times ever, and you go and you compare that to our times on Friday night. We're like 2 or 3 minutes at least off. That kind of just says something, right? So so yeah, just a bloody tough course in there.
Yeah. I I gotta say though, I it was a tough course for a lot of people. I absolutely loved the venue. I thought the environment and everything was fantastic there. Being at the convention center is always like I think pretty awesome. I really hope, Vegas right now has had a world championships and a major. They should
Mm.
definitely bring it back for a major or world championships every single year. It was I am highly biased in that opinion, but I think it's easy to get to. It's fantastic being there. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, the prices." Well, Vegas actually isn't that expensive if you get off the strip,
Yeah,
right? There's
correct.
an extra tax. It's the tourist tax. There's an
Yeah,
extra tax of like 16% anywhere on the strip.
yeah, yeah.
So, uh,
Um,
but your race in general, I mean, you ran hard. You ran it the hard way, I'd say. Um, just because of you and Tim, you had a plan in your head going into this race about what was going to happen and what you wanted out of that first run, first station. And I think Tim had the same plan and wasn't going to let you do it. And you ended up executing the plan, but I think it cost you. And it definitely cost both of you guys because you saw like Tim rolled back, ended up
hmm,
falling out. So I'd say maybe just the way it was raced on my end, talking to you beforehand, I could have been a little smarter with that. Uh, but for right now, that's you did a great race, and I'm excited to see for you what's next.
yeah, it's to cap it off, and I'm only saying this because I think the listeners would enjoy me saying this, or just have an insight into what my mind is saying to me right now, I guess. I've got a big I've got my ceiling has raised, or not my ceiling, but my expectation of myself has raised dramatically this year. And that's to do with my trust and my faith and my fitness, full stop period, and what we are doing together, Anthony. So am I happy about Friday night? No. Am I super, super sad anymore? No. I've taken away a lot of, I've actually taken away a few more positives than I actually would have thought. And, we're back to the drawing board to get ready for Glasgow. So that's how I view it.
You and I have already had our discussion, obviously, like gone over this race more in depth. But for the listener, I just want to point out when JK says he trusts in his fitness, there was a point in this race, and if anybody remembers, just like something we always work on, right, is you don't give up no matter where you're at in the race. You fight, you keep fighting. JK was down in 12th place at one point, and he fought back with just pure fitness and grit to end up in fourth. He made up
Yeah.
8 positions. That is a strong fight from someone.
Thank you, coach. I appreciate it. And like, yeah, I agree. It was hard for me to look up after the sled pulled and know that I was in 12th position, but I had two options in that moment. it was either throw in the towel or double down. And I'm very proud to say that I doubled down.
You did fantastic. So the next thing that I want to talk about, those are the like work races, I love watching them, but they definitely give me a little bit more anxiety, those elite races. Now we get to the fun races.
Yeah,
So
I
the
agree.
the rest of the weekend was all fun.
It was great.
Um,
Yeah,
and let's start with ours because we can go in depth on that.
yeah,
And the women's relay actually started after ours, and we're going in order. So we ended up going pretty late at night. What was it, like 8:20
like
p.m.?
8:20.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like all day. I'm getting more and more nervous as the day goes on. Been on my feet all day. Like I told you, I spent 30 hours at the convention center over 3 days. And I think Saturday was my biggest day. I was there for over 12 hours.
yeah.
Um, so our doubles race. You and I ran a doubles. We each had some separate goals, right? Like my goal was just to beat your individual time from the night before. Your individual time was a 57:34, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, total, was that right? Why don't I have the total here? 57:35. And very happy to report we did that. I believe our exact finishing time. So we'll talk about this, but a lot of people on Saturday had 20 seconds taken off their time. Most people that ran in the afternoon because there was like, I think there was a timing error that had like pulled back. But I looked across and like everybody's time online was 20 seconds faster than what it showed on the uh, screen up top. So
Right. Yeah.
our finishing time was 54:44.8.
Boom.
Uh, you and I had a run total just under 31 minutes when you include or sorry, 34 minutes when you include the run and rock zone. So it was 33:58. So we were slower running than you were solo,
Yep.
but our average workout time was 37 seconds faster than your average solo workout time
Okay.
for like per
Yeah.
station.
That's
Uh,
interesting.
one thing I'm happy about, and I know it's grid versus pro race, but our rock zone together was one of the fastest ones on the weekend.
Thank you very much. Yes. I still remember a few times that I we turned in together and I was like, Anthony,
Yeah, you
come on with
you
me.
dude,
Yeah.
we'd get to the rock zone, we'd cross the timing mat together, you'd sprint ahead of me, turn
I
around
was
and
like,
start yelling at me, and you'd beat up the timing mat, and I'm like, oh, run it, man. But it looked like you were just having fun running, and I
oh,
was dying
it's such
running.
There was a few times though, mate. No, hang on. No, it was a great race because for those of you who weren't there, we were able to actually race against Jake Dearden and George Heaton from 247. So we actually had the opportunity to like properly race against them.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think it's really good that they were there because I don't know if
oh
we do this time without them.
no,
Uh,
I like what I definitely don't think we would have.
so we ended up first place overall pro men's doubles. The team that was second is, I believe, Matt McLean and Samuel Hebert, so two Canadians.
Yeah,
They were only 11 seconds behind us, but they ran on Sunday, not on Saturday.
yeah.
So, they had our time. They could see our time before they ran. They ended up 11 seconds back, and then Jake Dearden and George Heaton were in with us. And I'll get into this because if anybody doesn't know, I found an awesome website. And I'm going to
Yeah.
plug the website, even though I don't think I've ever talked to them and they don't sponsor anything of ours. But I found this awesome website that shows you your race results and has done pretty cool job of analyzing the results. And they got them up to date. Like they have the Vegas race, they have the Manchester race, they have those races that happened over the weekend. So something's going on there. Um, but as far as our race goes, yeah, we had somebody pushing us, which was super helpful. By the way, I just want to talk about the start of our race. So, if anybody watched DecaFit SoCal last April when I partnered up with Lauren, you saw like I tell you, I get like anxiety, I get nervous. I sprinted out on
Yeah,
DecaFit and got ahead of like the camera people and the whole crew. Like even my
yeah.
partner Lauren in the race was like, I don't know what he's doing. Bye bye. And it's because I saw how fast I thought they went, and she told me to lead. And so in this race, I believe Lauren told you, JK, hey, hold him back. Don't let him go. Well, we start out on the line, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna tuck behind your shoulder, JK.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone, JK went out, and he went out faster than I would have gone out.
No, I
And
didn't.
yeah,
No,
you did. That first, the laps, by the way, if anybody didn't know, every lap inside that venue was 440 meters, like one full lap. We did our first full lap. I looked at my watch and like a minute 28. That's faster than a 5 minute per mile pace.
oh man.
We were
Oh,
flying. I remember seeing uh I remember seeing JK just keep going. And after we did one lap and I realized how fast we were going, because I was like, all right, I just have to do these laps in like a minute 43 and I'm going to be on a good pace. I saw JK take off. He's gone. Like, I'm trying to keep up. I'm like, oh my God. And we do one lap. It's a minute 28. And I literally said to myself, Anthony, you need to slow down. He will turn around and see you. And so I our next lap though was still a minute 35 for a full
was
lap.
it?
Yeah.
Wow.
We were flying, and so our first actual run was it was extra long, so it was like 1100 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Our first actual lap was 4 minutes
Okay.
for like
For a
1150, I believe.
1.1.
Yeah, I measured it out, but I think it was like 1150 meters, and we did it in 4 minutes flat, which was flying for me. But
Hey, but you held your own, mate. You're able to come back and finish strong. So it didn't matter. It didn't
yeah,
matter.
and just for reference, all of our other runs were like the 354, and I know the other runs were shorter compared to that first long run, but 354 was the second slowest run, and then our fastest was, I believe, a 338. So
Okay.
we were very consistent in that like 340 range, with our average being like a 348 lap.
Yeah. Yeah. Just for the listeners, we were like toe to toe with Jake and George all all race. We were in the lead, they're in the lead, we're in the lead, they're in the lead, up right up until the lunges. They were in the lead. They were like maybe 10 seconds in front of us on the lunges, and then we were able to come out of the lunges, maybe even I'm gonna say maybe 15 to 20 seconds.
Yeah, so
Um,
I'm gonna show you the website. Everybody
oh
that's
yeah,
watching,
sorry,
we're
that's
gonna be
right.
able to do that. Before we get to that, I did have some people ask me. They were like, "Yeah, I cheered for you, and you gave me a death stare." I didn't give anybody a death stare. I literally couldn't see 10 feet in front of me. I was tunnel vision on the logo on JK shorts, just trying to
That's
keep
right.
up. I was just
That's
like,
right.
Uh, I wasn't giving anybody this. I did hear people, specific people at like different points in the race, right? I heard them cheering. I could hear things.
Uh,
That's what I was looking at. But we appreciate. There was a lot of people yelling for us, and I really appreciate that, guys. Everybody it was fantastic. So just getting into the other parts of the race, like the ski erg, uh, JK, what you did, so we had a plan going in. The race did not go to plan basically from the sled push, but the first the first station we had planned, you do 350, I do 300, you do 350. JK
yeah,
gets on, he starts skiing. You were skiing like a 142 or something?
pretty much. Yeah, for most of it.
Which is pretty good. he jumps off at 350. I get on. I start pulling for 300. I pulled a 132, I think, is what I was pulling. 133
Yeah, you
uh,
were. Yeah.
average pace for 300 meters. And then JK jumps back on, lets me catch my breath, and we're out on our second run. We had a good second run. I think we were still in first. Oh no, we weren't. We were first skiered, but we were not first into the sled push. I think we were
No, we weren't.
third.
We
We
were
were like third into the sled push, right? Or second?
third, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we get into the sled push. We actually, compared to the rest of the field, our sled push was our slowest station.
Okay.
Uh, and that's because we got to the sled push and I started thinking, oh my God, I've overworked too early. So I said, our plan was JK, you do half, I do half, you do half, I do half, you do half, or you do a couple meters, I do a couple meters, you finish half, right? Like that was
Yeah,
our 4 length plan. It was half and half for 3 lengths, and then I only do a little bit in the middle. We got to the station and I was like breathing hard and I could feel like, uh-oh, I'm on that verge. So I
yeah,
said, JK, push the whole first length. And
yeah,
you did. And then I pushed halfway back and then
yeah.
you finished it. And then I pushed halfway,
Oh,
you finished. Uh, and then I think I pushed like a third and you finished the last 2/3.
yes, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I realized I needed a bigger break, but part of that was we communicated,
Yes, correct.
and
Yeah.
that was very important. We went out, we get onto our third run, and we get into the sled pull. Again, we weren't in first. I believe we were third still at
Third
that
of,
point.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Um, we had, I think, out of the pro double men that were running, I think we had the fastest sled pull. And we
Okay.
did the sled pull very close to how we wanted to do it. Right? You did the first. Actually, no, I think we did it almost the same way that we did the sled pull. You did the sled push. You did the first length.
Yeah,
I did half. You did half. No, well, yeah, because I started that. I started the second one. So you did a whole length. I did half of one. You did half the other half. I did half of one. You did the other half, and then you finished it.
yeah, yeah.
I think as well. And then we started running. We had a great run. We did some great burpees. I think our burpee time was a minute 56.
Wow.
But I gotta say, I got a warning for us. You did 7 to start with, great burpees, and then I got a warning for us on my first burpee. Um,
That's right. I forgot about that.
I talked to Jakob Olsen was the race director in this one, right?
Yeah, yeah,
He's the one that was the head of the judge. I think they call him Big Jakob. And he told me while you were doing your second set of burpees why I got the warning. And there was 2 reasons actually. So, do you remember the question you asked during the elite briefing about the burpees? So
the hand placement.
you had asked in the elite briefing, what is the 12-inch rule? Because they said your hand can't be more than 12 inches from your foot, right? That was the rule.
Yeah, yeah,
In the elite briefing, they told you, right? The answer to your question was your fingertips or your toes to your fingertips, that is 12 inches.
yeah,
So it's not the back of your palm, it's not the middle of your palm, it was your fingertips to your toes. That has to be 12 inches. Well, my hand my hand here, I've measured it's 7.5 inches from my fingertip to my palm. So that
yeah,
means that gap between my toe and my palm when my hand's on the ground can only be 4.5 inches.
yeah,
Um, so basically your hand has to be right with your feet.
yeah,
And he told me that my hand had been too far, that my fingers were out of that zone. Which it's very hard to measure, but if that's the rule, right? They said fingertip to toe tip is 12 inches. That's where I should have put my hands, and I put it a little bit ahead. And when I stepped up, my foot wasn't exactly in line. Like I had misjudged it, and he said it was all the same single movement. He goes, but both those things I have to watch out for. So you did 7 burpees, I did 4,
yeah,
and then you did 7. No, no, you finished out the length we were on,
That's right.
which ended up being, I think, 9 burpees because there just wasn't enough room to like switch. That would have been silly. I
Yeah.
started the next length and I did 4 or 5, and then
Yeah.
you actually ended up doing the whole thing, which was like a 12.
We didn't switch over one more time? No?
Uh, did we? We might have. It
I don't
wasn't
know.
exactly what I had written out though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I think oh, maybe we did because I think I ended up doing like 11 burpees total, which was
11, did
about,
you?
yeah, which was about 1/3 of the burpees we
130.
did.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds
And
about right.
that's generally a theme in this is I get 25 to 35% of each station, and I was focusing on the runs, and you were doing the remainder because the runs were easier for you, obviously. Um, yeah, because I had you finish out the burpees because I knew I had to run hard because I was starting the next station.
That's right.
So I
Yeah, that's
started the
right.
row.
Yeah.
So we ran in and everybody's
Yeah.
like, right here. And I was like, no, we go to the end. So I
Yeah.
ran all the way to the end. At this point, George and Jake were ahead of us. I ran all the way to the last rower, jumped on, and I started pulling. And I had planned on doing 300 meters. I started pulling and I was pulling like a 130. And I watched that pace just like, uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. When I hit 140 and it was hard to stay under 140 per 500, I turned to you and I said, I'm going to get off at 250 because I
Yeah.
thought like at that point, I was like, this is costing me more and I'm going slower than what it
Yeah.
would be to have you on there.
Yeah. That's right.
So I rolled off the rower. You did it perfect too. You came over to my ear and you go, I'm getting on from the left, get off to the right.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect information. That's how you communicate during a race, right? So I
Yeah.
knew that when I got off the rower, I wasn't going to run into you. I got off to the right, you got on from the left. Um, so I got off, and that means I had actually I pulled 250 and then it like let it roll. So I had like 720 meters to rest because I ended up like with the rollovers about
Rolling it.
280.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, And I get off the rower and I sit there and I'm watching you and you're pulling a 145. And what I get down in your ear and say?
So I jumped on and I thought in my head, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to find my legs as well. As much as Anthony's saying that this was easy for me, it wasn't as easy as he's saying. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do exactly what I do in an individual race, find my legs, cruise at 145. I reckon I was on for about 20 to 30 seconds until Anthony comes into my ear. And um, as the coach he is, he motivates me to think to myself, hang on, what am I doing? I've got the opportunity to really push here because I can. He said a few things that I'm not going to repeat, actually, because that's between me and him. But he got me going to the point where I ended up doing the last 500 meters at like 138, 139. Um, and yeah, it's just one of these things where he knew how to get to me at that point of the race to really push a little bit harder.
Yep. And so we come off the rower. We were tied with George and
Pretty
Jake.
much, yeah.
Yeah, we were like intermixed between us. You and I, we get out that rock zone though. It was quick. Get out that
Yeah.
rock zone and we start running. I think it was at that point where we're just back and forth with them on every run.
Yeah.
Uh, Yep. Go into the farmer carry again. It was back and forth. We had our plan. I think we did it pretty well, except for I think you went a little further than we had planned, and I went a little shorter. But I think I still ended up doing about 60 meters, 65 meters out of the 200,
Yeah.
and you were before and after. The lunges, though, is really where we did well. Uh, you lunged that whole first length down. I lunged 30 steps back, which is about 30 meters, and then you finished. And
That's right. Yeah.
JK motivated me. I was planning on doing, I mean, he didn't know this, but I was planning on doing 20 reps and giving it back to him. Uh, and
Yeah.
I got to 20 and he goes, eight more, eight more. And I
Yeah,
was like,
that's
all
right.
right.
I remember that. Yeah.
But I did 2 steps in the time that he said 8 more. So I ended up at 22. And then he starts counting down. And I was like, God damn it. Uh, gave him the sandbag. He gets it. We got out of there about 15 seconds ahead of the other teams, though. And that's the gap we kept on the run. I really pushed myself on that last run. And then we did the wall balls. You ended up doing 50, and you were yelling at me to finish out 50. I got a no rep on my very first rep. And I ended up doing, I probably, looking back, I was like, yeah, I should have just finished it. But I could feel my wall ball speed was slowing down, and I didn't want my speed of the wall balls to be the issue.
Yeah.
So I did 33 reps, but only 31 of them counted. And then you finished it. We crossed 54, 55, got some great photos and crossings. But if anybody wants to see, if you are uh, on YouTube or able to watch this, I
This is
am
cool.
going to share this awesome website. It's called Rocks Coach. uh, right here. And what I'm doing is I'm comparing JK and I versus Jake Dearden and George Heaton. I scroll down a little bit and I can relive the race.
Here we
So
go.
it's going to go. It looks like we're pretty close on run number one. We're pretty close on the ski erg. We come out ahead of them. They come out ahead of us on the sled push. So we're running behind them now. We pass them on the sled pull. We're ahead. We're ahead on the burpees. We're tied on the next run. In the row, we come out a little ahead. We're basically neck and neck here. And then we get to the lunges and you see us just like that's where we maintain our gap and we finish it. So if you got to watch that, that was pretty cool. You can do this with basically anybody. Um,
Anyone on roxcoach.com, is it?
yeah, it's called rocks-coach.com. And we're
Yeah.
giving them a plug here because their website is awesome.
Yeah, that's
uh,
cool.
and it has updated results, and I can do the breakdown. So I'll also show you. This is JK's breakdown. I'm not affiliated with this group at all, but they were pretty cool watching the race and being able to see it afterwards. And I like the data that it gives. It is an AI definitely it's just an AI like plug and play, but I like that it has all the data here and
Yeah.
that I can see the splits more easily. And if I wanted to, JK, this is your race. I could go up here and I could compare you with another athlete.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to compare you against Lauren, I'd be able to see the race here if you want to relive your guys' race against each other. But
Yeah.
then it shows me the breakdown, which I think is just awesome.
Yeah, it's a great website. I just on this note, I know for a fact that a lot of people are a little bit
Miffed
annoyed
about the
about
timing.
the timing right now, but we know for a fact that HYROX are doing their work right now to make sure that they're releasing their own product now or soon, and it's going to be better. It's going to be even better. So just watch or not watch the space, but just wait, guys. Just have patience for that. I know for a fact it's going to come because we I spoke to a few people on the weekend about it. So
I did as well. I asked people over the weekend what was happening, and they gave me a good, just kind of like what was going to happen. Not we'll see. Like I was told that it would all the I was told that all the functions it used to have are coming back. So plus
yeah, that's
more, they were just
yeah,
bringing it
plus
in
more.
house.
Yeah, yeah,
You want to just quickly touch on the women's relay? So
definitely,
for
definitely.
I want to because it's 4 women I coach.
Yeah,
Lauren Weeks, Lauren Griffith, Zara Piergianni, and Kate Davey. They had such a fantastic race. When you talk about like a world record run, like it's hard. You can't imagine getting much faster. And like I said earlier, all the times on Saturday, actually 20 seconds were taken off of most of them because of like there was a timing thing. So their actual world record time is 52:53.
wow.
Uh, that is not a fast course. They ran fantastically. And Lauren, um, both Laurens, they each one of them did one of the machines, and that's just got to be the hardest. I just imagine the hardest thing to do. This relay was also set up a little differently, where they had to run after their station. So their run was split. They had about a 200-meter run after each station.
Yeah,
Um, 200 meters on the track too. Not
yeah.
that doesn't include the rock zone they had to run out of and then do their 200
Then
plus meters.
yeah.
It was actually more like 300. So man, they went fast. Absolutely killed it. The women's relay though is now faster than the men's pro world record. So
Yeah.
they beat the men's pro world record. I think there's on a better setup, there might even be more in the tank for them.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was fascinating because we were on like run 6 or 7 and they were literally just starting.
Right.
And your wife, Lauren Weeks, started the relay. And I still remember like watching her just like zoom past us um so quickly. And yeah, it was exciting to watch. And then we got to, I don't know, because you may have been not watching anyone else, but I was able to watch a couple like Lauren Griffith, like at some point, just like zoom past me. Like I think we're on our last run. They were flying. The girls were flying.
There was There was a point when we were running, I saw each one of them like run past us. They might not have said anything because they were zoned in, but uh, they released the women's relay right as I was coming around that bend. So they went straight right as I was merging. So I ended up falling in right behind them.
Flying in, yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
that's right.
it was right after our row. So my legs were pretty heavy, but it was right after my rest. I almost did the mistake of like, oh, I'm gonna catch her. Like I wanted
Catch,
to do that, and I was
oh
like, oh no no
yeah,
no
yeah.
no no no,
No,
don't do that. Not at this
I'm
point.
glad you didn't because that would have put you back. That
Yeah.
would have definitely put you back.
So it was awesome being able to see her on the course. I did see each one of them as they ran past us. They were flying. Like I thought, I'm not the fastest, but I didn't think I was running slow, and they just cooked us.
Cool, cool. Yeah.
Um, Super cool to see. I think it was absolutely spectacular. We got some great videos and other things of it, but yeah, 52-53.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
it's a time to beat now,
I
which is
think
awesome.
I think that's a minute, like in terms of beating the old record.
Yeah, yeah, it's exciting.
So
Hey,
I know you got to
Anthony
run.
and
Yeah.
listeners, I've got to run. Are you gonna stay on?
No, but I just want to say, everyone, thank you so much for listening to us. We'll be all the feedback we got over the weekend. So many people came up and said they listened. A lot of
Yeah.
people that I really respect also came up and told us that they were avid listeners, and I appreciate that just absolutely so much. JK, where can people find you?
So on Instagram, James Kelly, please, or yeah, or check out the new proven programming that we've just launched.
Yep. You can find me at a wild Parasini or at the hybrid engine. And go ahead, guys, check out thefeed.com. It is a really awesome website for anything you need supplement or nutrition or recovery wise.
That's it.
Thank you for listening to the Hybrid Coaching Podcast. If you'd like to get in contact with James Kelly to seek out some coaching or for general questions and inquiries, please go to Instagram and find him at jk.jameskelly. Or you can find him and Georgie Vesley on YouTube at James Kelly and Georgie Vesley. If you'd like to contact Anthony or seek out programming or coaching questions from the Hybrid Engine, please go to Instagram at the Hybrid Engine or at a Wild Parasini. Thank you again. Have a great day.